The Republican plan to repeal and replace Obamacare is facing a new challenge this week. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office is set to release its estimate of just how much the bill will cost if passed as currently written. Would add or subtract to the national debt? Would it do so? But more importantly, millions of Americans are waiting to learn exactly how the bill will impact them. Jessica Tarlov is a Democratic strategist and senior director of research at Bustle.com. Evan Siegfried is a Republican strategist and author of GOP GPS. Good to have you both. Thanks for being here. Let's talk about what the president promised. Can we get that up on the screen real quickly? Because I think some people are wondering, well, what were we looking for in this bill? He wanted, as stated, universal health care. Health care for everybody. Remember when he said that? No Medicaid cuts for the poorest among us. And funding for opioid treatment, because we know we have opioid addiction running just rampant, particularly here on the East Coast. What did we get exactly out of his list in this bill, Evan?
We really didn't get that much. In all honesty, this bill, which the president has married himself to, comes out and it gives a $4,000 tax credit for every American for health insurance. Whereas in different regions, there are some places that went heavily Trump in the election in Pennsylvania that are now going to be facing or now have $11,000 paid for by the government for health care, and it's reduced to $4,000. That takes something that is already unaffordable and makes it even more so. So we need to see the president and the Congress work together to fix Obamacare and make it truly affordable.
Well, before that, the Freedom Caucus in your very own party is going to have to also get its changes and its amendments. Are they better representing what the president wants if it's not already in the current bill?
I think nobody's satisfied with this current bill except for Paul Ryan and the president. They're going out and they're cheering it and touting it. But
you just said his very objectives are not in it.
Exactly, but the president, for some reason, married himself to it. I don't understand why he did it, but he has not presented a plan of his own, despite having said on the campaign trail that he had something that was terrific and it was going to be perfect. It was going to lower costs.
Well, but it had those three things that he really wanted, and maybe he was depending. I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it would make sense, Jessica, if you depend on the people who do this for a living to put it all in there. And now you've got this bill. Where are your people? Where are the Democrats on this?
They're out there saying that this isn't at all what President Trump promised himself, and it's certainly not what the majority of Americans want.
Where's their idea, though? Are they going to come to the table?
I hope that they will. I've been saying for a long time that the key for Democrats is to back down on purchasing insurance across state lines. I mean, that would create more competition. It would drive down prices. It's pro-free market capitalism. It's good for Democrats to seem like we like capitalism and the free market. Get away from the
or to actually like it.
You know.
Maybe not just
say
seem
that they like it.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I personally really like it. I know a lot of them do. But then we do have the Bernie Sanders contingent that do want universal health care, something that Donald Trump said that he wanted, but he doesn't really understand, or I think didn't understand what that would mean, what an overhaul of our system that would be, and also how powerful these insurance companies are.
Look, you've seen the people at the town halls, and some of them now, their big mantra is no, we have not been organized or paid. We are looking at the lack of what our dollars are bringing in. Look at Arizona, for example. Everybody points to that. More than 100% hike in their health insurance premiums. You don't have to organize them to go anywhere. They're seeing it when they open that envelope. So what do you say to them this week as the CBO gets ready to score this? Are we going to continue to see a situation where it feels like people are coming to the table? Or is this really a gauntlet laid down inside your party?
It is a gauntlet that's been laid down, but the CBO score that's supposed to come out tomorrow, Republicans are privately telling one another that you should expect the worst, that it's going to be a terrible CBO score. So it might actually be good to go out and...
but then they just say that's what happened with Obamacare, and that has been their argument, to say we had bad CBO scores. They ended up getting it correct.
Sit down with Democrats and hammer out something for the long term that fixes
But
this,
until unicorns fly into the studio, because I think that's what may
with
take
little Chuck
tonight.
Schumer and Donald Trump heads.
Oh my goodness, that's not respectful. But my point to you is, before all of that can happen, I mean, you do have a situation where Tom Price, our HHS secretary, is saying that don't expect the CBO to even be accurate on the cost and coverage of this bill.
That's PR at this point.
You think it is? You don't think he knows what it would cost?
I think that the CBO,
or have some idea?
I think the CBO is a nonpartisan office that grades, calls balls and strikes. And I think with the coming score from the CBO, it's not going to be good to sell. The American people are not going to like to hear that the CBO is there. I think the president needs to insert into this bill the actually removal of the state lines, which isn't in this bill.
Jessica, your party has been down this road before, and
have.
there's a huge backlash when you pass stuff that people don't quite understand, and it makes things more expensive, and it doesn't bring in that free market exchange, what you're talking about, and it doesn't do all those things. It can be political dynamite. So what experience or suggestion or advice would you give Republicans right now?
Don't jam it down Americans' throats. It's what we did, absolutely. We passed it by ourselves, and we have paid the price for it politically. For the last 7 years, Obamacare only got popular once people became afraid that Trump was going to take away their health insurance and that the prices were going to go up, which I think is what is going to happen here. And it's not just the CBO score. We also have S&P and Brookings estimates that lead to 10 and 15 million people losing insurance. So I would say work together on this one. This is going to be a huge election issue in 2018 and 2020. Tom Cotton came out and said today that he thinks that this could do in the Republicans in the midterms.
Well, look, the president has even said, who knew that this would be this complicated, and he wants to get it right. Real quickly before I let you go. So the DOJ, the Trump administration is being called upon to find evidence and show it by tomorrow to the House Intelligence Committee on whether or not President Obama really ordered wiretapping against President Trump, as Trump has said. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that the president should produce this evidence because it's a very serious charge, because we don't want presidents of the United States abusing power, which is what President Trump has accused former President Obama of doing.
Jessica?
I think absolutely as well he should. I mean, we have people on both sides of the aisle calling for this. The Sunday talk shows were full of it. It doesn't seem or appear that there is any evidence that they're going to come forward with. And
we don't know.
I said right now
so
it doesn't
can we talk
seem,
about consequences? Because if President Trump or his administration steps up tomorrow and says, boom, here we go, people. Here's the evidence. What's the consequence of that?
If President Trump comes up with that evidence, that
what
he was
happens to
illegally
President Obama?
I think that is that falls under the realm of the a prosecutor. We're going to need to seize prosecutorial stuff if that were true. However, if President Trump comes up with this and either there is no evidence or he comes up with evidence but there was a warrant granted, that's a very serious problem for the administration itself.
Or if it's electronic information gathering and not necessarily wiretapping. There could be a change of words there, semantics, maybe an understanding difference there. I want to give you the last word, Jessica.
Oh, just that I think that it's really critical, and this goes for both sides, that when you make huge accusations, which we have flying around about wiretapping,
yeah, I mean, look, the
with
Democrats,
Russians,
right, they've made it against the Trump administration.
Absolutely. It goes both ways here, that everybody really needs to come to the table with their evidence. The American people are not trusting anybody right now until you show them that piece of paper that you held up that says, here's the evidence
This
of
is
it.
just my paper.
No,
it has
okay.
nothing on it.
I wish you had more there. Yeah.
It's all for me.
No, but the American public's sick of it. I mean, approval ratings for Congress are still, down in the dumps there, and they're not going anywhere, especially if they're not delivering on economic reform. I mean, that's really what Americans put him in office to do, this tax reform and to get more jobs. I know the job numbers was good. It was a little Obama bump there, I would say.
Okay.
But,
all right.
but
we knew she had to get it in. All right. Evan and Jessica, thank
you so much.
very much. Always good to see you.